When I played Pokemon as a kid, I used the Pokemon that looked the coolest. I had 4 damaging moves on each slot, and if the Pokemon wasn't offensive enough to take out the opponent in one hit, it was simply a bad Pokemon. As I grew a bit older, I realized that design is not what makes a Pokemon good, sadly. Or else this would have never been a thing. What makes a Pokemon good is a combination of typing, stats, and moveset. Medicham and Galarian Stunfisk are Pokemon that have it all. They have an incredible typing both offensively and defensively, they have great stats to back it up, and also some of the best moves in the game that cover each other very well, making them able to hit nearly every opponent for good damage. Pokemon like Azumarill and Umbreon have incredible stats in Pokemon GO, and they have great typings to back it up too. But if we take a look at their moveset, it's kind of average. Still, the moves synergize very well and gives each Pokemon a unique role, so it's possible to be good as long as your moveset is, well, at least average. Trevenant and Alolan Ninetales are 2 Pokemon where the stats and typing are average at best, but because of their amazing moveset, they carve out a niche for themselves. Trevenant beats all other grass types and poses incredible offensive pressure, while Alolan Ninetales can either speed to its great charge moves with Powder Snow, or just fast move everything down with Charm. So if the moveset can make or break a Pokemon, what Pokemon do we want to make and what Pokemon do we break? In this video I'll take a look at moveset changes I would like to see and that I would think would be healthy for the game. The standout pick for me is Sylvian. The evolutions are always fan favorites, and Sylvian would be applauded into the ring of viable Pokemon. Pure Fairy typing is solid, as it only takes super effective damage from Steel and Poison, 2 types that barely exist offensively. It also hits most things for neutral, with Quick Attack and Moonblast being the preferred moves of what it currently has today. Sylvian as a Fairy type already countered the strong Fighting and Dark type Pokemon that are very popular, but it needs help with coverage and to help with its mediocre stats. The move I would like to see added to Sylvian is Mystical Fire. It is a move recently added to the game, doing 60 damage for 45 energy. It is not the strongest move, which cheap moves shouldn't be either, but it debuffs the opponent's attack. As it is a Fire type move, it lets Sylvian hit Steel types super effectively. Essentially, it solves 2 problems in one, providing Sylvian with excellent coverage and making it bulkier at the same time, due to the opponent's attack being lowered. With Mystical Fire added to its move pool, Sylvian picks up new wins against Steel Pokemon not relying on Steel type moves like Registeel and Skarmory, and Ice types like Alolan Ninetales. The debuff helps it outlast some neutral matchups too, like Pelipper and Cresselia. Sylvian would not be overpowered with this addition. It still loses most scenarios to Lantern, Noctowl and even Trevenant, as one Mystical Fire is not enough to take it out. Fire types would resist both of his charge moves, perhaps carving out a niche for them in the meta as well. In my opinion, Sylvian is a great neutralizing Pokemon, as it avoids most hard counter matchups, as Fire types are nearly extinct. Disrupting the Fighting plus Steel core that is so dominant at the moment, while having mostly neutral matchups, sounds like a brilliant idea to me. After making Sylvian such a great pick, why not bring up a Pokemon to shut it all down again? Because in my opinion, Toxipex could reform its entire movesets. How I love to contradict myself. Toxipex currently run the moves Poison Jab, Brine and Sludge Wave. Upon its release, the entire player base was terrified of the combination of stats, typing and moves. Being an absolute tank of a Pokemon, Toxipex takes super effective hits on the chin like Action Hank. Even though it is the inner beard that counts, Toxipex has a beard covering its entire body. The typing makes for a very interesting Pokemon. It is a water type able to compete with grass, but struggle against the ground, steel and even rock types. As Toxipex relies mostly on poison type damage, the targets for its damage output are few and far between. Currently it functions as a protective shield for some specific Pokemon. Toxipex's issue is how monotone it is. Brine is a truly awful move and doesn't provide substantial water damage. That means Toxipex struggle to hit anything resisting poison. As Toxipex is so bulky, it should not be given a cheap charge move that would make it spammy. That leaves us with a more expensive Hydro Pump, doing 130 damage for 75 energy. With this upgrade, Toxipex can pick up wins over ghost types like Sableye and Frostlass, the ground type Diggersby, and power through other poison types like Drapion. It also has a meaningful way to hit rock or steel types. Now we've made Toxipex's moves even more expensive, so Toxipex could need some help to get to its charge moves even a bit faster, with the help of the extra energy generation of Poison Sting. It generates 9 energy instead of Poison Jab's 7, but it would make Toxipex's total damage output go down in neutral matchups. Even though Toxipex would take a slight nerf with the Poison Sting update, I think it would be a lot more fun to play, or at least to have the option. Anyway, I think Hydro Pump would be a great addition to its move pool. One of my favorite Pokemon to use in Pokémon GO has always been Vigoroth. With Counter as the fast move and Body Slam as the main charge move, it has a consistent damage output and mostly neutral matchups. Due to its pure normal typing, it only takes super effective from fighting, which helps its longevity. Vigoroth's second charge move is usually Bulldoze, providing 80 damage for 60 energy. In my opinion, Bulldoze is robbery, and if it could be replaced, it should be. Another issue with Vigoroth's moveset is how vulnerable it is to the most common ghost type, Trevenant. That's why I suggest giving Vigoroth access to the move Flamethrower. Dealing 90 damage for 55 energy puts Flamethrower in the category of moves you like, and the move would put Vigoroth in the A tier. It would still need to bait to beat Trevenant and Registeel, but the move would give Vigoroth some long-awaited closing power, and let it shine more in shieldless matchups. It would also threaten the grass types a lot more than it does today. I also consider giving Vigoroth Ice Punch, as it would help Vigoroth with the flyers it's struggling against today. But not being able to hit steel types at all with its energy seemed to hurt more than it helped, and that's why I think Flamethrower is the best option to improve Vigoroth. Pokémon GO is known for making unorthodox Pokémon shine. In no other Pokémon game, Noctowl and Medicham has got the limelight that they do get in Pokémon GO. It's time we do the same for one of the most underappreciated Pokémon throughout the franchise. So the penultimate change I would like to make is a rather nostalgic one. As it was my first starter, I've always had a soft spot for Alligator. It's perhaps the Pokémon that's got the least amount of love throughout the franchise. They couldn't even make its name fit properly. It was left with a conjugation and hurt feelings. That's why I take it upon myself to grant Alligator the spotlight it deserves. Alligator has a solid typing as a mono water type, only taking super effective damage from grass and electric, two not as common offensive types. But because its stats are not as impressive, Alligator needs solid moves to work. And it almost has. Alligator has access to the Community Day move Hydro Cannon, infamous for being one of the best charge moves in the game. It also has access to good coverage moves in Crunch and Ice Beam to supplement Hydro Cannon. Yet, Alligator is completely broken by its terrible fast moves. As being on the frail side, Alligator needs extremely good moves to work, and its only options are Waterfall, Ice Fang, or the notoriously terrible Bite. All these moves charge up energy slowly, not letting Alligator take advantage of its great charge moves. The best move Alligator could possibly learn would be Shadow Claw. Doing 6 damage while generating 8 energy is fantastic for a 2-turn move. In my opinion, it's the best fast move in the game, also due to Ghost being able to hit nearly everything for neutral damage. While Alligator drops 2 common matchups by giving up Waterfall for Shadow Claw, it gains 12 new wins against the most common Pokemon. With Shadow Claw, Hydro Cannon and Ice Beam, It now takes out the Dragon Altaria, Cresselia that throws Grass Knot, and can even one-shot Venusaur. This update would give the least appreciated water starter in Pokemon history a stage to finally shine on, and it's fully deserved. Now, please let us have it. But for any water type to shine at all, we must address the elephant in the room. Lantern. Ever since receiving Surf, Lantern has been ruining Pokemon GO. The dynamic of water types is incredibly important in this game, as the diversity of the water types allow for diversity in team building and strategy. Sadly, Lantern has ruined that dynamic by basically oppressing every other water type. In addition to suppressing nearly all other water Pokemon, its only true counters are Grass and Dragon types. These two types are easily exploitable and quite vulnerable in Pokemon GO, making it very hard to set a hard stop for Lantern without being hard countered yourself. This dynamic is not healthy for the game. These two reasons are why Lantern has to go. It creates volatile triangles not fun to play, and it removes too much diversity from the game. Basically, all the winning teams in recent tournaments look the same, and most of it is thanks to Lantern. I know it isn't likely, but I do hope that Niantic will take Surf away from Lantern again. It is the biggest change they could do to the meta, and it is also the most welcomed one. What changes would you like to see? Or do you have any favorite Pokemon that could need some extra love? I'd love to take discussions in the comments, so please let me know. See you in the next one.